Hello everyone and welcome back to PGP Motorsports Park for the 6th race of the winter season. And the winter season it is indeed. It is now snowing today, making it for a very icy and slippery time on the track. It's going to be tricky conditions out there. The snow does not just roll off the visor like the rain might do at high speed, so you actually have to be more conscious about wiping it, so visibility will definitely be an issue. And we have a lot of interesting names in the LCQ this time.
And unfortunately, most of the names have gone past me. However, I do know that it's Thomas who started his heat race on pole, but fell all the way back to the LCQ, which is unfortunate. Another big name in this current LCQ is Stephen Barret, who's way in the back. He got crashed out of the LCQ. He is currently tied with the championship lead, so it is not incorrect for me to say our championship leader is in the LCQ. But here they go, come out to the front straight. I'll get those names when they cross the line. But until then, it looks like they're all going to grid up 2 by 2 down the front straight. The flag bearer goes to raise the flag. They're going to have a nice and slow start to these conditions. And the flag's waved and they're away. 2 by 2 down the front straight into turn 1. Pole sitter hugging the inside. I believe that is Sebastian on the outside, seeing if he could get the better momentum. Thomas takes the inside. Sebastian seeing if he could improve from third place. Doesn't look like he can, but it doesn't look like he loses from third place either. Thomas takes second place. And in first, it looks like Drew. That is Drew, who changed his shoes. I was going off of his shoes, and he changed them. So congratulations, Drew. You're in the lead with different shoes than I remember you.
He's got his new shoes on. Probably some warmer shoes out in these conditions. There's wind chill, there's snow chill, there's ice chill. There's just no chill out on the track right now as they try to race their hardest to keep it on that track, as we already saw some of the tire marks from previous races where people have flown off the track. And this is where it'll be the first test as we see our second place person fall back and lose everything. Sebastian just drops back. He's very high on the championship leader, and he's a race winner out here. And this could be the end of his race. He's got 20 minutes to catch up, but it'll be a tough battle.
Knowing Seb's pace, I believe he can do it. We just started, and there's more people going off up and around bus stop. That's Cole doing his best snowplow impression. Cole, he's keeping that momentum going. Can he get back on track? He might actually make it. This snow really stops the car, but it looks like with the track worker's assistance, he's able to keep it going.
He's able to do it.
So
most people get stuck.
It's worth noting, going off the track in these conditions is worse than when it's raining. That snow just keeps you off the track. Once you're stuck in the snow, that's it. And it takes a while for the track worker to get to you because of these tricky conditions.
Yeah,
so your top priority, do not go off the track, or that's race over.
And Thomas, who had an unfortunate heat race due to kart performance, is leading the pack right now for this LCQ. He's going to try to gain the lead as someone tried to make an ambitious dive up on the inside using the curb. Is that Steven
That's
already?
Stephen Barret already in the top 3. He's gunning for this win because he needs every advantage he can get to get back into the championship fight, but they're not making it easy for him. Almost squeezed out wide with Stephen Barret fighting for second place. That's Drew really defending. So we have a 5-way battle for the lead. These top 5 here, only the top 4 will progress into the final as someone finds the grass. That's unfortunate.
Or the snow. He needs to get it back on there, otherwise he's going to get stuck. And
Kirk gets stuck!
No,
just kidding.
Just barely on, and he's good to go.
Woo!
And now back to our leaders, with Thomas still leading the way. Steven's just behind Drew, it looks like.
Yep. And also, Colin Flynn found his way into 4th. So once again, a good showing from Colin, consistently keeping it in these top 4 spots in the LCQ.
Absolutely frigid out here as these top 3 take their lines around top of the world. They're obviously taking the wet lines today.
And they're taking the snow lines, might as well. There's a surprising amount of grip to be found in these conditions, but it's basically a wet track.
Yeah, they're on slick tires here. There's no treads. There's nothing to dig into. And
other than Steven digging his teeth into double apex, trying to make a move on Drew, it's not working. Steven clearly has the pace. He's just trying to get past Drew, whose defense is top-notch in these current conditions. We've seen Drew's racecraft out here. He's no slouch. Steven very frustrated, but here they come down they're coming down the line. Let me get these lap times up for you to see what kind of paces they're setting out here. Full wet conditions. And Drew takes the defensive inside, just getting the offensive inside, and takes the lead away from Thomas.
very good move, very good ambitious dive up on the inside. And Steven was not able to follow him through because he kind of got caught slacking outside of a roller coaster down the front straight there. He lost touch with him and wasn't able to take advantage and follow Drew through past Thomas. So now it'll be Steven versus Thomas here, and Thomas, of course, will be eyeing down Drew to try to get that spot back for first place.
Worth noting that Thomas and Steven they're no strangers to racing each other in the final, but racing each other in the LCQ like that, this is one of those you shouldn't be here, neither should you moments. Thomas on the inside going to try to take first place back away from Drew for the lead of the race. They're going in, and Drew retains his lead. Thomas just couldn't keep that momentum into turn 6.
And Steven is just stuck behind him as they go too wide. And honestly, wow, Thomas is just able to sneak through up on that inside with that undercut right there as Drew had to go wide to maintain his defense.
Thomas once again proving me wrong like he did on track back in 2019. He got me with the same move.
Is this pretty much just Thomas's signature move here? Just
against me, yeah.
Against you.
It worked on me, it worked on Drew.
And here we see Steven and Drew, that battle reigniting. Steven right behind Drew. He has to get a better exit outside of roller coaster, and Thomas will be wise to any potential moves that Drew could throw now into that turn 1.
Honestly, I bet Colin's loving this from 4th place. He gets a front row seat to all the action, and Colin is not even under threat from Isabel in 5th place, who's currently defending against Talon. Good showing from Talon. He's one of the relatively newer racers. I think this is his 2nd season out here, and he's braving these conditions just fine. Let's get those gaps up. So yeah, the gap between 4th and 5th is about 5 seconds-ish. So Colin just has to keep it on track and keep up with the leaders, and he'll be keeping right on into the final.
And we're now seeing 2 wide with Steven making a tiny little bit of a look on the inside, but he backs off, falls back into line going into turn 4. That might be the end of that unless Steven spies an opportunity to take that undercut. Nope.
Drew is pushing. I can tell. Those steering inputs into turn 4.
But Steven is looking to dive up on the inside.
And Steven, he's able to keep it in, but now he's got to keep it out. Drew hooking the inside. Can he make it through? 2 wide through bus stop, but Steven has the momentum and makes the move into bus stop. Steven taking 2nd place at the LCQ, giving every advantage he can to get into the final so he can carve through the field and get those championship points back because, like I said, he is currently tied for the championship lead and can't afford to take a bad result today.
Yep. And so, importantly, that also means, of course, finishing in the top 4. And with all these battling here, there's got to be a lot of tension there because if you just fall out of it and you get stuck in the snow, that could just be his championship not finished, but it'll be this race finished for him as he will not be able to make it to the final if he makes a mistake and falls out.
I know for a fact Steven's going to be gunning for the lead. He needs that advantage going into the final. And I know Thomas isn't going to take it lightly. He's going to be doing everything he can. Thomas with the momentum, closes the door with perfect precision, and it's a dogfight for the lead.
Yep. Steven trying to use the same move that Drew used on Thomas, cutting on that inside and riding that curb, to get the momentum needed to claim that spot and get in front, was not able to do it, as Thomas was able to just carry that speed around the outside and close that opportunity.
Now, riding the inside... Oh, we got a crash in turn 2. Oh. I heard a big bump, and that is unfortunate. We got 2 beached cars. Fortunately, the track workers are there on the scene almost immediately to get them back on safely and continue their race. But it's really unfortunate for these two. Their standing's over, but it's still to play for whatever championship points they got. Back to the battle for the lead. I know Steven's really pushing, and I wanted to talk about the overtakes into turn 1. Now, you want to hook the tires on the inside of the curb, but it's an advanced maneuver, very high risk, high reward. If you don't do it perfectly, you're gonna lose a lot of momentum and possibly lose control of the kart. So, unless you've practiced it extensively, it's very difficult to do.
And even if done perfectly, what makes that move work is you putting yourself in front of the person you're overtaking, so that way they can impart the momentum that they've maintained, taking that faster line onto you. If you don't get in front of them, even if you do it perfectly, you're just going to end up being slower there. So that move is only really to be taken if you're looking to secure that overtake.
Now, it looks like Thomas is going to use it defensively. Steven on the outside, but with good momentum. Thomas on the inside. Thomas has no choice but to take the inside line. And here we go. Can Thomas hook that tire onto the curb perfectly? It looks like he can. And he closes the door on Steven, but not wide enough. Steven trying to sneak in, but doesn't quite make it. Well defended by Thomas, but that was really close. Steven's going to be fighting this one the whole way. And it's up to Thomas to defend.
That is a really impressive defensive move thrown by Thomas there. He had that hooked perfectly. He knew just when to let go of it, and he got that momentum imparted by Steven, even though he tried to move on to the outside there, but he just shaved the momentum and brought himself down to the level. But here we are into turn 4. Steven
Thomas
right
still
behind
on the
Thomas.
defensive. This is extreme defense from Thomas. I think he's taken some notes out of Sergey's book here. Sergey, who did make it into the final. Thomas, a stone wall. It's a Thomas train of 1, defending the lead as well he should. When you're in the lead, you might as well defend it for everything you got, because that's literally leading the race.
Yep. And if you're just by yourself there, even though you might be slower doing these defensive moves, it's allowing third place to catch up and...
Is it?
Well...
In this particular case, it looks like Dhruv is not lapping any faster than the top 2. So... It's a dogfight between the top 2. Dhruv and Colin are in their own world here, and I think those two are okay to settle where they're at. I'm sure Colin would like to take third place, but given the consistency and these treacherous conditions out here, I don't think we're going to see much of fighting other than those in the lead right now. As Steven sneaks on the inside, kind of.
Not quite. He's right in there, though.
Oh yeah, Thomas fuzzy guarding, but Steven commits. Thomas... kind of. Oh, that was really late from Thomas. Very uncommitted.
They're both on the inside line here.
And I would say that's kind of a mistake from Thomas there, not committing hard to the inside line and letting Steven take it. Because I think what Thomas wanted to do was kind of keep it fuzzy and ambiguous. In that situation, you gotta take the inside. You have to defend. And unfortunately, that tiny bit of indecision let Steven take the lead. And now it's up to Thomas to fight back.
Yep. And for Steven to pull away, prove that he's got the better pace here. Because he's been behind Thomas this whole time. So let's see how this pulls out. And already I'm seeing the gap forming, but that's just turn 4 and 5. We'll go into turn 5 here, see how Steven loops around these sequence of corners. Steven is our championship leader. And he's had these fights before. We've had wet races before.
Now, the good news for Thomas, he only lost 1 position. He's still cleared to go into the final. That's it. All he lost is 1 position going into the final. All is not lost for Thomas. In fact, this is borderline a negligible loss for Thomas. So I'm sure he doesn't feel too bad about losing the lead of the LCQ, because, after all, it is the LCQ. I'm sure he's more privy to that now in the future, and likely won't let that happen in future races, as well as the upcoming final.
Yep, and throughout the course of that 1 lap, Thomas just hasn't been sticking to the back of Steven as much.
Oh, yes, he has.
Well, not as close as Steven was to Thomas, and we'll see if that gap closes in this straight.
Okay, yeah, you're right. See how Steven here taking that defensive inside line, hooking it perfectly. Steven taking no chances with Thomas behind him. Steven needs this win.
And even with taking that slightly less efficient inside line, he still has that gap. Steven just has full control of his kart here.
Let's get those lap times back up. Steven already setting a banker lap, nearly a second. Yeah, 0.8 faster than Thomas there. So Steven is going to be pulling away, it seems like, and Thomas is going to have to settle for second. In the meantime, we got this nice squabble in the back here. Let me see if I can get some names for you as Kurt goes in the dirt
rips
again.
Apart as one of them falls down to the outside and gets stuck in the
Is
snow.
that Kirk? Nah, that's not Kirk. I think Kirk made it in the final. But yeah, unfortunately, someone did find their way into the snow and get stuck. Track workers helping him out. We still got a battle with Sebastian going into turn 4. Good, you got it on camera. That is Sebastian versus Isabel, I believe. And Sebastian getting by Isabel there. Sebastian, one of our championship contenders as well. Lots of high-profile names here in the LCQ. Proof that anything can happen in these crazy snow conditions.
Yeah, all it takes is one mistake, and you're pretty much dropped to the back because you're just stuck on the grass for so long. Because sometimes when you spin out, make a mistake in the wet conditions, you can just get right back on track and try to fight back and maybe lose a lot of positions of 5. But when you get caught outside in the snow, it's all of them.
That snow just sucks you in like quicksand.
You're losing all of it. And you got the bumper, so you're pretty much a snowplow, and you're asking your slick tires, your rear-wheel drive, go-kart engine slick tires to push some snow out of the way.
You're just stuck. It's simple as that. If you're in the snow, you're just stuck. Don't go in the snow.
Yeah. But it looks like the snow has been melting a little bit as this race has progressed.
Yeah, the snow, it's starting to let up. It's been progressively letting up. It was snowing a lot harder earlier in the day, but according to the weather forecast, the snow isn't getting any worse. So what you see is what you get. There's still some light snowfall happening. I'm sure it's hard for the camera to pick up, but the snow is coming down ever so slightly. It's just not nearly as hard as it was earlier. Also, good on Thomas for keeping up with Steven. Thomas, no slouch in any of these conditions. And it looks like because Steven's driving super defensively, that might give Thomas some opportunities to take the lead back. We're entering the closing stages, and this might be the final lap, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this upcoming lap is going to be the final lap.
There's a move up on the inside of top of the world that Steven was just not prepared for. And it looks like Steven might try to move to take it back with another undercut in top of the world. It's such a super long corner. And then in light bulb, Steven still reclaims the spot, and now he's more aware of, oh, I didn't drop Thomas. Thomas is just right behind me still.
Yeah, Thomas is really pushing. Really good kart control for Thomas. Thomas took the middle line through light bulb, which is very treacherous. There's zero grip in the middle. But fortunately, keeping it under control as to not hit Steven out. Because if he hit Steven out, I would cry. But here we go. The yellow flag is out because we have a car in turn 1. It looks like the white flag is not out. They're going to get another lap. Color me confused. Okay. They get more racing. I'm not complaining.
Yep, another 20 more minutes for this or another few minutes for this 20-minute race to resolve. Got Thomas, another chance to learn as he's driving off the back of Steven right here, because now it's Thomas's chance to learn Steven's racing line here. He can figure out where he's faster and where Steven's faster, and then change his own driving style to match.
It is worth noting they are coming up to a lapped car. This might get dicey because there is probably one more lap of racing. I recognize who that is. I'm sure he'll be fine. I think the lapped car realizes where he's at. It's really rare to get lapped in a league race, but in endurance races it happens all the time. So it's just courtesy to move out of the way, but you don't... I don't know what the rules are. I think you have to move out of the way. But it's hard. Here they come. They're right on that lapped car. Yep. And they're going into light bulb.
Is Steven going to try to dive up on the inside? It looks like it a little bit.
They're making the overtake. The lap car realizes what's happening and gets out of the way. Clean. I respect it.
Yep. And then Thomas tried to take a little bit of advantage, but all he was able to do was close the gap there. Not quite able to make a move, as I'll be going into roller coaster now.
They come into the roller coaster. They're coming out onto the front straight. As the flag bearer waves the white flag, it is now the final lap. This is Thomas's last chance to make something happen in the LCQ. Thomas realizes that Steven's going to commit to the inside. Thomas has to take his chances on the outside to get the better momentum and see if he can make it into turn 2. But Steven keeps that door firmly shut. And that right there is the difference between Steven and Thomas. Steven keeping that door firmly shut the whole way, and Thomas being forced to take a better momentum line only to be just blocked, in essence.
Yeah, just great driving from Steven here. Thomas, great driving from him as well to be able to keep up with this championship leader, even though the lap difference was literally almost a second apart when Steven first made the overtake.
I think what happened is Thomas is picking up all of the racing line tricks that Steven is showing him, simply because when you're in the lead, you don't know the optimal racing line. You have to carve it yourself. But if you're behind someone, you could learn from their racing line in these tricky conditions and adapt it to your own. So in these wet conditions, it's slightly easier to catch up. simply because you could gain information from the person in front of you and catch up to them that way. Not to mention, braking zones are longer, and the racing's overall trickier. It is what it is.
Yep, that is the catch-up mechanic. You just get to learn from the driver in front as the conditions change.
But here they come, round double apex, and the best shot that Thomas has is a drag race to the line, so he's going to try to get the best exit he can out of roller coaster onto the front straight, but so is Steven. And it looks like they both nail it. Steven going to hug that inside because it's shorter, so is Thomas, and it looks like that's that.
The race is decided. Steven Barret takes the lead of the LCQ, takes the win. Thomas in second, and then in third place...
That is the lapped car.
Is the lapped car. We're going to get third place soon.
Third place is Drew, followed very closely by Colin Flynn, who kept it in there.
Nice. So Drew and Colin Flynn round out the third and fourth, and they'll be our 23rd and 24th starters on this grid, and we'll be keeping an eye out for Steven Barrett's race as he tries to carve up to his fellow championship leader and make sure that he is the one that walks away with the lead. Hello everyone, and welcome to the final. Here we have Joseph Checkers on pole after his heat race win, and Paolo Patini right behind him, our current championship leader. And then further in the back of the pack, who won the LCQ, is Steven Barret, our other championship leader. They're tied for first with the championship points, and we got quite the wintry Wonderland race in front of us.
Who else is in the pack? We have Alex Seguin in third, and in fourth, we have the pole that is blocking my vision. Awesome. We'll get the names for you when they come around. But here we have the final. This is where all the points are scored. The snow has mostly stopped coming down, but that's not going to stop the races from giving their all. Those two sentences were completely disconnected. I'm hungry. Hungry for some action. Let's go. In fourth is Chem Aiken. Woo! Okay, so Chem Aiken makes his return. He hasn't raced enough for the championship battles, but he can bring the fight to Palau. Things are going to get pretty dicey as they come out to the front straight. The race director told everyone to keep it clean, treacherous conditions, and hopefully they do keep it clean. I think they're going to keep it clean. I probably jinxed it. That's fine. They are all 2x2 down the front straight. Flag waves. The flag waves and they're away. Joseph Checkers not defending the inside, leaving the inside wide open for Sergey to dive right in. That was a bold strategy for a race start.
And it looks like it might be paying off. Oh, never mind. Sergey
No!
Gets it.
We got several people in the barriers. That's Steven Barret in the barriers. Championship over. I hate to break it to you that way. That's game. Just kidding. He's back on track. Anything can happen today.
Yeah,
but we have Sergey in the lead of the race with Paulo right behind. Clash of the Titans. This is going to be unstoppable force meets immovable objects.
And unstoppable force just drifted all across the length of turn 4 and then goes for a cutback in turn 5, and he's going to dive up on the inside going into turn 6 and secure first place from Sergey. Never mind. Sergey dives up onto the inside of turn 7.
That was intense. So that was back and forth. The lead of the race changed positions 4 times in the span of 3 corners. Welcome to snow racing at PGP, ladies and gents. We're going to be here for the next 20 minutes commentating this final race, race 6 of the winter season. So glad we could race today.
Yes, on the snowy weather right now, it looks like it might be transitioning to a little bit more slushy stuff. It might be a mix of rain and snow.
Mostly wet track with slushy conditions is what we're dealing with today.
Slushy grass that will eat your entire race if you fall into it.
So once again, I'm proud to announce the entire grid is the Sergey train, with Sergey leading the race. Love to see it. Paulo, eager to get in. And that there, in third place, I believe that is Davidson Mann, gunning for another race win.
Thomas, a lot more fortunate in his opening laps, already finds himself this far up into the grid.
Wow. Yeah, Thomas is already in the top 10, despite his LCQ status. And Chem Aiken's actually struggling. Unfortunate. I haven't seen Chem Aiken race much in the snow before. So he's actually caught himself in battles, and the Rainmeister demonstrating he's the Snowmeister, getting past him. I think, nope.
Yep.
He's bringing the fight to him.
Bringing the fight to Thomas, as Thomas says, I don't want that fight, leaves him, and goes on to tackle his next overtake.
So yeah, we got the top 4 breaking off into their own land. I will get the names up for you after they cross the line.
3 wide for a moment there,
and
as
Paulo
loses all momentum, drops down to 4th place, I think it is.
Paulo drops back to 4th in a very surprising turn of events. This could be good news for Steven, who's keeping his head in the game. Steven's next target is Chem Aiken. Oh no! What happened there?
Oh no.
Once again, anything can happen in these crazy, snowy, slushy, wet, icy conditions. So, it's a battle for survival at this point. What the heck?
Yeah, as we got the huge Sergey train going on, although Sergey's pulled away a bit. And I believe that's Joseph Checkers behind him now?
Yes, that is Joseph Checkers. Despite his bold strategy race start, didn't lose out entirely, and is actually in a position to fight for the lead.
Played it safe and found himself potentially on a podium spot, as down in 3rd place we got Paulo. Or Thomas making a move up on the inside, throwing it onto the bumpers to try to overtake Paulo and someone else.
Doesn't quite work, but Paulo on the inside of 2. Inside of 2 is not a good place to be in these conditions. Paulo looks like he's going to drop back even more positions. A disaster for both of our championship leaders.
They're bringing themselves closer and closer to each other, and we might see the battle between Steven and Paulo yet.
That's entirely a good possibility, simply because your lowest scoring race gets dropped at the end of the season. If both of them have a terrible race today, then technically this race won't even count and the championship battle is still on. So just because you're dropping back does not mean the war is lost.
But here we see Thomas fighting now for 3rd place after starting in 22nd place.
Thomas found his place in 4th and is defending against the championship leader and offending against Spencer and gets it into bus stop. Starting from the back, our hero Thomas Heacock has made it to a podium position.
He does his signature move, overtaking in the bus stop, and sits there on the podium, and he isn't done. We're not even like 5 minutes into the race, I feel like.
That's nothing short of impressive. By the way, the snow has picked up. It is now snowing even harder. So, good old-fashioned weather forecast saying, yeah, the snow will let up. Nah, we got snow.
The snow is going to let up on our heads, and that will directly impact visibility. As now the battle kicks off between Joseph Checkers and Sergey. Joseph making a move around on the outsides.
It looks like the driver tracker is not updating. Let me try to fix that.
Oh, I've lost sight of Steven.
Steven did not pull into the pits, because there's no one in the pits. So Steven's still in it.
Maybe.
Yep, I'm trying to get the driver tracker back up. It looks like we're not gonna have a driver tracker today. It borked.
It borked?
Yep. Well, we got our eyes.
Is that not Steven back there?
That might be. I'll keep an eye out, but my eye's on the action right now. We got a bunch of cars going into turn 4. That is head by Tamer Oz with the Rainmeister on the outside. There's contact.
Now on the insides, minor contact is they're just bumper carring themselves through this battle, and they're looking to make it 3 wide.
Oh, the Rainmeister's on the inside. He gets in the middle, then the inside.
And then
still 3 wide. Oh, jeez.
Tamer's trying to make it 3 wide again, but Rainmeister prevails.
Of course he does. He excels in these conditions.
He knows about those he knows how to do pack racing, and pack racing is what he did.
Yeah.
As he raced the pack, brought himself to the top of that.
I would say the Rainmeister, also known as Scott Miller, is the #1 most experienced driver when it comes to pack racing in zero grip conditions.
I think that might have been Steven pulling in.
That was Steven Barret pulling into the pits, forfeiting the race. Unfortunate for our championship leader. He's going to take the L on this one. It's going to be his dropped race, and he's going to use these last 2 races in the season to bring the fight to Paulo. Really bad day for Steven, but the fight's not over yet.
Yeah, snow conditions just super tricky, and it's a huge testament to all the racers that have just been super skilled and lucky to make it through. all the races so far and be in the positions where they are. And hugest commendations go to like Thomas here, who started in 22nd, made his way up to the podium, and he's not backing down. And I believe the gap is still closing between him and second place.
I can't get the numbers for you, but that gap is definitely closing simply because Joseph Checkers is fighting Sergei Kostov for the lead. Sergei demonstrating that he is capable, as he has in the past, of winning these races, especially in these crazy snowy conditions. But Joseph Checkers, hungry for another win. I haven't seen Joseph Checkers win a race in a very long time. He's a race winner before. I'm pretty sure he is. I've been out here for many years. We've had a lot of race winners. The Rainmeister's facing the wrong way!
What?
What happened?
I think the snow got to him or something. He might have been
I don't know what
I have
happened.
no idea. He's just facing the wrong way, and he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to claw back any positions and points.
I blame the leaders. Could you stop fighting really good and giving us a good show so I could focus on the rest of the pack? Thanks.
Okay, thanks, bye. All right, so we have Palau leading a train here?
Paulo's still in fourth. I see him. So Palau in fourth. Decent position, championship-wise considered. So I'm sure Paulo's going to want to win, because fourth place for Palau, that's not even a podium, and he's a championship leader. He's a championship winner. He's a multiple-time championship winner. It's like seeing Max Verstappen in fourth place. It's not good enough for him.
He's a multiple winner. There's been times where I'm pretty sure he's won almost every single race in a season.
Yeah. Oh, there's plenty of carnage in turn one. And that is... I can't tell who that is. I got sideways but pushed back. But the carnage has happened. And all the races are facing forward, at least for now.
For now.
Please keep it that way. That'd be cool.
And Sergei's still holding on the defense against Joseph Checkers, and now Thomas, I believe, getting closer and closer to striking distance as Palau closes in as well.
I believe the tracker has updated. Let me get that data up for you on screen now. Awesome. Tracker's back, fellas.
Looks like Chad Aiken also took to the pits.
Yep. So, in these conditions, honestly, it's cold and wet out there. If you feel like you have nothing to gain from being out there and you don't want to just drive it out, you could pull into the pits and forfeit. I don't recommend it personally because I love just being out there. The few times I found myself in dead last place, I just got into practice mode. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to come out here and have fun. And I did. But there's no shame in pulling into the pits if that's your prerogative. I feel like they're going to take this time, reflect, refresh, but get themselves back up and come back even stronger next race.
It'd also be warmer.
It'll most likely be warmer.
Warmer is nice.
Warmer's very nice. 2 weeks ago, when the race would have happened, it was canceled because the track was frozen solid and you can't race on an ice track. As much as you'd like to try.
Yep. But in these conditions, it was just warm enough to not be an ice track. Well, the biggest problem wasn't the ice track, it was the icy throttle cables, and you don't want your throttle cable getting frozen stuck.
So the top four are actually converging together on Sergei. Sergei's going to have to do his best train conduction in order to keep that lead, or else there might be a mutiny on board caused by not Aiden. It says Aiden on the screen, but he insists it's Joseph Checkers' trademark copyright. He gets the trademark copyright on the name today.
All right, Joseph Checkers TM.
C.
CM?
TM with a C. He gets the trademark and the copyright, as well as third
Joseph
place.
Checker, well, he got those, but he lost second and third for that. Fell down to fourth. He'll get the rights, but not the rights to the podium, maybe? Actually, no, he's going to go for a surprise lunge. Double overtake onto the inside of turn 7.
He takes it right back. Unfortunately for him, we got Thomas on the inside of bus stop, but Thomas didn't make the magic work this time. Thomas has been making bus stop work in his favor all day.
But this time he makes top of the world work, and he gets that outside line.
Wild.
Around Joseph Checkers. Palau following him around.
And oh no!
Joseph loses it.
I jinxed Joseph Checkers' name too much. He's battling Palau and takes third place. And Paulo's still in the fight.
Side by side behind the pole. Outside of the pole they go, and Joseph Checkers still reclaims his podium spot. But Paulo's right behind him now.
And all this has done is
giving Sergei a huge gap.
Oh yeah, Sergei is probably loving that. The fact that he now has 1 second gap to second. Woo! Let me get those gaps up for you. And we'll see just what that number is when they cross the line. Yeah, that is a 1.3 second gap that opened up from being bumper to bumper last lap. Sergey has this in the bag. I think Sergey is going to step on the gas and start pushing just to keep that gap from closing up. So, we might see a good old Sergey win today. I'd love to see that.
Something interesting to point out. Every single one of these drivers took the inside line in turn 1. That might be the faster line at this point.
It is the faster line. So here's how it works. The inside line is much shorter, and the curb lifts the cart up off the ground just enough to give you that off-camber. It helps the cart rotate. It doesn't quite help the cart grip, but it helps it rotate. It's up to you to manage the grip throughout the turn. The outside line is much longer, but you could swing a lot more momentum around. Unfortunately, the inside line is so much shorter than the outside line, because the turn 1 is so wide and long, that the turn 1 inside line, there comes a crossover period with the track conditions where it's just faster and better if you can take it optimally. Taking it optimally is very, 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 very difficult to do, but these top 4 have been doing it for years, and they've nailed it. They make it look easy. Believe me, it's not easy. Ask me how I know. I've found myself in the grass many times.
Yeah, well, like, when you say lifting the cart up, that should ring some alarm bells if you're,
Yeah, it's a different balance that only applies exclusively to that one corner in these conditions. You don't get many opportunities to practice it.
Not at all, not at all. But it looks like this time they all decided to take the outside line. Maybe they're just having fun.
It also seems like I think they're catching up. Let me get those lap times up, see how they're doing. Yeah, Thomas does have slightly better pace than Sergey. Very slightly. So, it is possible that they catch back up to Sergey, but they need to not fight each other for it, which is a very tall order. That's a huge ask for any racer. Yeah, could you not try to pass the person in front of you? Good luck.
It looks like Palau made a pass on Joseph Checkers at some point as well.
I thought Joseph Checkers was always behind Palau. Maybe I just gaslit myself into believing the confirmation bias of our championship leader reclaiming a podium spot.
Which is what he's done now, and it seems to have been done cleanly and stealthily. And he's now looking to catch up to Thomas and, by extension, Sergey. And Sergey is now within striking range of Thomas here, actually. As now this battle shall resume.
Yeah, they've caught up, it seems. Now it's up to Sergey. Sergey got a little breather, but he can't really breathe easy anymore. He has to start defending at some point, because that train of karts behind him is catching up at a consistent pace. And Sergey knows how to defend it. We've seen him defend time and time again. In fact, he's one of the highest defense racers out here that I know of. So it's going to be a really tall order to take the lead away from Sergey. Sergey can defend with all he's got for any position, but I think defending the lead of the race is significantly more impactful than defending like 5th or something. Here we go. Sergey takes the outside, gonna try to get that momentum. Thomas on the inside, everyone else goes on the outside. Let's see how this pans out. Thomas on the inside, Sergey gonna try to get that inside line and makes it through, taking the outside. They're finding new grip. The track conditions are changing, and those two corners have proved it. The inside line that was more optimal 2 laps ago is no longer the play. And it's that track awareness that separates the good from the great. And it is so hard to judge when that crossover period is.
And, of course, it could just go back and forth as well, depending on if it starts snowing again. Because right now the snow has let up.
Yeah, the snow stopped. And I think that might have had a huge factor as to why they're taking the outside line. So the reason the outside line is faster now is because the snow stopped, the inside line is just slick. But the outside line can now have more grip to carry more momentum than what you would have on the inside because of that slick, off-camber, no-grip kart condition just for rotation. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that they're Tokyo drifting it round the outside for not only style points, but because it's faster in these scenarios. We might see them switch it back up on this next lap because Sergey needs to defend, but actually he might not. Okay, yeah, he will. They're caught up. We still have a 4-way battle for the lead. Hold on to your hats, because they might get blown away.
Surprisingly, hasn't been too windy out here, but definitely out for these people going 50 miles.
If it was windy out here, I don't know what. However, time flies. The white flag is out. It is the final lap. Sergey is probably going to defend the whole lap. Thomas making a very deep lunge on the inside, trying to get that momentum, and he doesn't get it. That is how tricky it is to nail that inside line. Look how big the gap has formed. That is the consequence of not nailing it perfectly, and it seems that Sergey has this in the bag. He just had to finish out the lap with decent pace, and the people behind Thomas now are itching for a fight. It's the final lap. They're going to be making moves, and it's going to get dicey. Palau in third, and Joseph Checkers, who did start on pole, is in fourth. They're going to want those podium spots. This is going to the line.
Yeah, very intense right here as Sergey has his little train going on right here. It looks like Thomas has a little bit of a sniff on that inside line right there going into turn 6. And Palau with the biggest lunge, the double overtake from Palau. He wants first. He's not satisfied with anything less and does not get it done as he'll be stuck on the outside in the following turn 7 and falls back as we go back to the previous order of Sergey, Thomas, Palau, and Joseph.
That was some of the best commitment I've seen from Sergey. He trusted the line and the grip, and it gave him back the lead of the race, because he knows how to race in these conditions just as well as they do. And he trusted the process. The process is working out for him. Just a couple more corners to go before Sergey takes yet another win to add to his record. They're coming out a roller coaster now. Down the front straight comes Sergey, followed by Thomas and Palau and Joseph Checkers. To the line comes Sergey to take a race win.
The first race win, Thomas in second, Palau in third to round out the podium, and Joseph Checkers just outside of it in fourth. What a brilliant race. And then we got other battles. People are going to go too wide, racing for every piece of position that they can get. This is going to be huge waves in the championship points for now. And we've got 2 more races to go for the winter season. So remember to like, comment, and subscribe to see those in the future.
First of all, everybody, like I said in the drivers' meeting, thank you guys for actually showing up today. I know it probably was at least a little bit of a sketchy drive for some of you guys, but you all made it out here, and I think we still ended up having 34 people, which is crazy considering it was snowing until the heat races. So thank you guys for coming down. We are going to start off with the fastest lap of the race, which goes to our winner of last weekend's endurance race, who will also have the fastest lap of that one. Fastest lap of a 103.110 to Aiden Flynn. I don't even know if he's over here right now, but he got the fastest lap time.
Joseph Checkers' fastest lap time.
Coming in third place out there with the best lap of a 103.138, finishing 1.02 off the lead. We got Palau Patini.
I know you started all the way back, but I knew it's a matter of time.
Go for this one. Alrighty, coming in second place out there with the best lap time of a 103.552, 0.659 off the leader. We got Thomas Heacock. And taking that top spot, making it back up to the top step of the podium with a 103.96 best lap time. First place, Sergey Kostov.